Okay, now once we've chosen the target, and we know how many teams are under the template, we have 4, we need to roll to range in before we actually see who's hit. Now ranging in has a few modifiers, as we discussed. Conceal, gone to ground, and who's spotting. These teams are clearly concealed, so there's going to be a +1 modifier. There's no +1 modifier for anything else. Then we have to address the skill of the team that we're trying to attempt to range in on. How good are they at getting out of the way? Now these guys are veterans. Now veterans are the best in the game, which means we need a 4 to get them. Reminding that we have the +1 because they're concealed. So we need to range in on a 5. In the Game of Flames of War, you have 3 attempts to range in. Each additional range in attempt makes it harder and harder for you to have effective hits afterwards. So we'll get to that in 1 second. So let's go ahead and roll up. I think you can see that. Let's roll. We're looking for a 5 here. Attempt number 1. Excellent. First attempt ranged in. Now, because I ranged in the first attempt, I'm going to be hitting the teams underneath, again, based on my skill. So I'm going to have to now roll, because I'm trained, 4s to hit. Okay? 4s to hit them. Now, if for some reason, let's say I didn't roll 5 the first one, I rolled a 4. That means the first attempt was unsuccessful. Let's say I rolled a second attempt. It was also unsuccessful. I would then get a third attempt. Oh, and I rolled a 5. Now, that would imply that I have 4s to hit them now, +1 because it was the second attempt, +2 because it was the third attempt. So I really need 6s. That's how normal artillery works. The beauty of rockets is that it doesn't matter what attempt you range in on, first, second, or third, you never count as if you rolled more than 1 attempt. So regardless of how many attempts it takes you, up to 3, you still hit on your skill. So I would need 4s, no matter which attempt I ranged it on. If you fail to range in altogether, of course, you do not hit any team successfully. Now what we need to do is we need to apply, or your opponent would apply, a dice or a hit to each team and roll them, roll their saves per team. Now what a lot of people like to do is roll them all together and just say this team, this team, this team's hit. That doesn't so much matter when there's not different teams under there or different types of teams. For instance, if there was a truck or a tank or something like that, they'd have to be rolled separately. For these guys it does matter, because if you remember, the 2IC had a Panzerfaust. This is a regular MG team. This is a Panzerfaust team, and this is a regular MG team. So if I'm the Russian, I want to make sure I get rid of those Panzerfausts. So the opponent needs to roll the dice and say which hits are allocated to which ones. So let's just work our way in a sequential order. We'll go from this one right here. Now infantry have a 3-up save, no matter what. Typically, the wall would give them bulletproof cover. But because the shot is coming in from above, there's no bulletproof cover. So it's just a 3-up save, not modified. If it fails it, they're removed. If they pass it, they stay there and they're successfully got out of the way, or the shell didn't hit them, or whatever have you. You make up the story yourself. Okay, so first guy. It's a 4. Hopefully you can see that. It's a 4. So he's successfully saved. The second guy, the Panzerfaust team. He rolled a 6. He successfully saves. The next one. This is the 2IC. He rolls a 5. He successfully saves. And the third MG team, he successfully saves. So we ranged in, we hit, but they all saved. So the shot had no effect. But what they are is they are ranged in. Okay? So just keep in mind that that area was targeted. Now, that matters if they're still there next turn, then I don't have to range in. I can just call that back in. Now, that works if you have certain teams. Not all artillery can do that. This one in particular wouldn't be able to do that because they don't have a staff team. Likewise, the Germans likely won't be there the next turn. But you can put a ranged in marker there just in case, or to remind you, or to remember that you actually fired that artillery bombardment already this turn. So that's how that works. These teams over here unaffected because they were not hit. But one last thing is we need to remember that this group is pinned. So what we're going to do is we're going to put down what we call a pinned down marker. And the pinned down marker tells us that this group right here, although they were not hit or killed, they were hit. And I'll put that ranged in just to show you what that looks like. And it's ranged in. You put it right on the team that's ranged in. So I'll put it right there. So this group here is kind of a little bit shaken right now. So at the start of the next turn, you'll see what happens to a pinned down group. And again, the tokens are reminders to you and your opponent. So it's nice having those. And they're available in dice tins that look like this. They're unit specific. You don't have to use a particular one, but you can buy them unit specific. They come and they have dice in there and the tokens. So quite nice sets. Okay, so ranged in, didn't kill anybody. We're moving on from there.